Hi, I'm Alice. I'm an educational psychologist at Laidlaw Schools Trust, and with the theme of Parents' Mental Health Day being screen smart parenting, I'm going to talk about the impact that recreational screen time has, particularly on learning and sleep. And there are many benefits of screen time, but the heaviest users are vulnerable to low moods, anxiety and depression, and there are links with reduced social interaction. The younger children who have more than 2 hours of recreational screen time do have reduced working memory, processing speed, executive functions and attention, which has quite an impact in school. So research shows us that screens change our sleep-wake cycles in different ways, and by emitting a blue light that interferes with the brain's ability to produce melatonin, which is the hormone of darkness. It delays our internal circadian rhythms, making it harder for us to fall asleep, and also gives us less time asleep. And the other thing is about content, because it overstimulates our brains and makes our brains hyper alert and makes it harder to fall asleep because of the release of stress hormones, cortisol and adrenaline, which impedes the brain's ability to down-regulate. It also delays relaxation and stimulates our frontal cortex, which is involved in decision making and attention and problem solving and other executive function skills, which are like the air traffic controller in our brain. Insufficient sleep reduces our neuroplasticity and the ability of the brain to form connections, and also is linked to mood dysregulation, emotional processing, and it can make children, rather than making them tired, it makes them hyperactive and have lower attention and lower frustration tolerance. So as a parent, there is night mode we can put our phones on, but that isn't enough. And because kids copy their parents, we need to be aware of what we're doing and model what we want to see. So if we can try to make sure that bedrooms are screen free, not having screens for 1 or 2 hours before bedtime is great, and try to have some nice pre-bedtime activities, reading, games, drawing, or just chat. And one of my favourite protections against the problems of screen time, research tells us, is green time and time outside.
Hello, I'm Naomi and I'm a specialist SEND teacher and assistant psychologist at Laidlaw School Trust. This Parents' Mental Health Day, I'm here to explain the impact that screen time can have on a child's brain. Dopamine is a chemical that plays a key role in how children feel pleasure. When children scroll through social media, watch short videos or game, dopamine spikes repeatedly. This makes being on screen very pleasurable, but also very addictive. When screen time ends, dopamine levels drop, which can make children irritable, bored and restless. Over time, children become less sensitive to dopamine, meaning that they need more stimulation to feel enjoyment. This fuels the addiction and makes other hobbies and tasks, like spending time with friends and family or pursuing an interest, feel dull in comparison. This creates a cycle where children feel compelled to keep using their screens to feel pleasure, even when they're really tired.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Hardy and I lead on SEND at Laidlaw Schools Trust. My role covers everything from additional needs to mental health and young people. I'm here today to share some tips this Parents' Mental Health Day along the theme of screen smart parenting. So the full effects of screen time for children are still being debated, but many experts, schools, health bodies and even the World Health Organization recommend limiting the screen time for children. Conversely though, there's a research project from Oxford University with over 20,000 parents suggests that limiting screen time doesn't have any effect. I think, to be honest, as with everything, like a more balanced approach is beneficial, focused on what children are looking at, what they're doing on screens rather than the length of time. That being said, I've got 4 boys ranging from 8 to 16 in my house, so I completely understand having to put boundaries in because they would definitely spend 24 hours a day on them if I could. I think tips taken from lots of other people in the past is the hardest one probably. Be a good example. You know, children tend to do what you do, not necessarily what you say, so it's important to model the behaviour for them. I mean, it's unrealistic to think that you'll never look at your phone when you're with your kids, but minimising it around meal times, play times, you know, is a really good example. We at home put a family agreement in place. We sit down together and decide timings, what platforms should be used. It's not always stuck to, but we really, really try. What I'm a big advocate of are parental controls. You know, we have screen time on phones, PlayStation 5s, all of that kind of thing. The boys know, you know, that when it's bedtime, everything gets turned off. And switching off notifications on the phone really helps, so when they're in the middle of a conversation, they're not kind of looking at it 10 seconds later. We've also got device-free zones, and a lot of parents that I speak to in my job have this, in that the kitchen's a no like screen zone where there's no phones at the dinner table. Some people do it in the car, I don't do that. Kind of removing that temptation for children to be picking up the phones when they're eating. A lot of people ban phones from the bedtime, which has actually got lots of research backed, because the blue light from the mobile phones can disrupt the sleep. But I think also, like, working with your children's screens, it's the way forward, isn't it? Screens are going to be our future. So finding apps and websites and games that explore their passions and not just looking at one thing. And I think the other things that's really important in even young children is like building that critical thinking, encouraging them not to accept that everything that they say, like, it's not all going to be real at face value, and obviously really looking at who they talk to online. But treat them like young adults, like look at how websites are designed, you know, try and teach them how it feels to know when it's too much.